Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fay, and welcome to the new-ish card report. Alliance Insight brings with it some new cards, as a standard for a set in a card game designed to bring new cards. Crazy. Welcome to the hottest Yu-Gi-Oh! News channel around, folks. Breaking news every time right here. So let's take a quick look at some cards that are powerful, full of potential, and also real, despite their existence being an affront to God. So without any further delay, let's look at some cards, starting today. We start with the clickbait, of course, the Psalm of Kings, which is the new Dominus trap in the metaphysical sense, where Dominus isn't in the name, but it definitely is in the text. This normal trap card can be activated from the hand if you have no monsters in your graveyard, and when the opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can activate this, negate that effect, and then if you have a trap card in your grave, you can add a copy of a Dominus trap card from your deck to your hand. The catch is, if you activate this card from your hand, you can't activate monster effects in the hand, grave, or banishment until the end of the next turn. And of course, it's a hard once per turn. So it's kind of an imperm plus. And literally, since you can search either of the Dominus cards after it resolves, which means you get to negate a monster on the field and then add either a copy of Ash Blossom or Solemn Strike, depending on what it is you want or are able to play depending on the Dominus locks. The catch is, of course, using this so that you can get your pseudo imperm shuts you out of every other hand trap, beyond, I guess, the Dominus ones. And, you know, any kind of grave or banishment play until both you and your opponent have had a turn, which is incredibly demanding in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! But it makes sense because of how insanely strong this is. Hilariously, it seems that of all decks, Phantasm Spiral is the best home for it as of right now from what I've been able to find, because you can use this, both of the Dominus cards, and not give a shit at all since it's all focused on vanilla monsters and no effects anyways. And the deck already plays its trap cards that it likes to search and activate from the hand, which means you can actually get trap cards in the graveyard pretty reliably before using this to then search another Dominus. So it's actually a decent amount of synergy, since you need a trap to get the search off. So one of the most annoying decks just got a whole lot stronger, which is great news for awful people and awful news for great people. It's also really cool art-wise, as is standard for the Dominus traps, and means that we now need a fourth one to put the blue dragon on another card. You're gonna tell me no, we actually just need the blue girl that's summoning the dragon, and I don't care, I disagree, give me the dragon. I want that more. I also want to know what the hell it is she's looking at, because is that a giant knight or samurai or whatever? What is the lore of these cards? I don't think we'll ever know, but there is one thing that's for certain. If you play Phantasm Spiral, you're going to hell. And also old news, but I want to talk about it, is the spell card Gordian Schneider. Shoutouts to Rob himself. Another speed spell 4 card for people who like to piss off judges. This card's effect and activation cannot be negated. Full stop. You can still chain cards to it though, it's just you can't really interrupt it. So I guess it's not technically Speed Spell 4, but then Speed Spell 4 isn't technically a term, so shut the hell up. At the start of your main phase 1 or main phase 2, you can target any number of face-up cards on the field and bounce them to the hand. The catch is, for each card you target with this effect, you'll need to banish 1 card from your hand or 6 cards from your extra deck face down, which is a big ask. It's either a -1 in terms of hand advantage to out a single card, or it's about half of your extra deck to get out a single card. And by get out, I mean boing. So it's neat because you can bounce up any face-up card, meaning that you can get rid of a nasty floodgate as well as an opponent's boss monster. So that's cool, but it also means that if you bounce the floodgate, they can set it again, so you should probably win after using it. But it's guaranteed to resolve, because the card says so, literally. You can't do anything about it. Seems to be a new side deck tech of sorts, and reminds me a little bit of Ultimate Slayer. Normal spell card that's really solid, was incredibly expensive on release despite seeing very limited play, and this is a lot like that, except instead of featuring a woman on the art, it's some kind of giant mech sword or something. So, like I teased at the beginning, it's got potential, and people like that. They like cards with potential a lot, they tell me. They tell me the cards with potential are the best cards and that I'm incapable of understanding them, as if they're some deep philosophical statement about the world as opposed to a literal dogshit piece of cardboard. Anyways, let's go look at another card. Chaotic Elements is very appropriately named for a spell card, as if you don't already know what this card supports, I can promise you, you will not be able to guess. I don't know why they made this. On activation, this will add 1 light or dark Pyro or Aqua monster from your deck or grave to your hand, and then if you have 3 or more Pyro and or Aqua monsters in your grave, you can destroy 1 card on the field. And if your opponent controls a light or dark Aqua or Pyro monster, you can banish this card from your grave and then target one opponent's monster and take control of it until the end phase. Both effects are hard once per turns, and what the fuck is this card? This is support for both Ashen and Tistina, all in one card. When Spiral got OCG support, it got a Link 2 that made it tier 0 for a point in time. Burning Abyss got a card that revitalized the deck and brought it back into tier 1 status, and that lovely, lovely Beatrice. And rather than try to make a good card for either of these decks, Konami decided to give both of them this. Does this work well for either? I don't know. Because I don't know what Tistina does besides absolutely nothing. People tell me the deck desperately needs a Link 1 because it needs a light Tistina to make any single play, and a light Link 1 would fix that situation. And Ashen is fighting for its life each and every turn to make the single most predictable and irrelevant Regeki on the planet. Like, I know you give the opponent the dragon, and I guess this lets you take it back, but I don't think that's the problem that Ashen had that it desperately needed to fix. I don't think this elevates the deck. I think there's like 22 things that need to be done to Ashen before this effect to make it a better deck. Does this mean that the decks are connected through lore? Like, the monster on this is kind of a rock-looking Tistina god thing, and the purple fire is vaguely Ashen-like. Are we gonna get this is a monster to support both decks? Is it going to be a light Pyro or a dark Aqua? Please don't tell me that's how they're going to try and do Ashen and Tistina. They're both laughable in terms of playability already. Combining them both literally just makes them worse. Who's doing this? Why is this here? How is this the way they've chosen to handle these archetypes? Does Konami hate Ashen that much that they're like, nah, fuck that Dark Souls shit, we're not fixing this, this is who did this? Because that doesn't make it, they do it. The OCG is directly involved and designs all the TCG decks as I understand it. They're just released in the TCG first. So there's some amount of planning that had to have been done here to give us this situation, and I can't understand the sense of any of it. Absolutely wild stuff coming from Alliance Insight, and truly proof that Konami chooses to make some cards and decks good, such as with Psalm of the Kings, and other decks get to things like chaotic elements. My God, sucks to suck, I guess. That's the takeaway from this shit. And so that wraps it up for this new card report, just covering some of the new cards in this one, as always, new in heavy quotations. The regular update will be out on Friday, and until then, I've been your host, Krog Frog. And make sure you subscribe to Yug Yug Strats, man. Not only will hitting the subscribe button impress your smoking Italian wife, but also you'll become a true duelist, and nothing in life could be more important than that. Except, of course, impressing your smoking Italian wife, but we've already got that covered, so just 2 birds, 1 stone. Get on it.